You know that moment when someone you care about is clearly upset, and instead of saying something, you just stay quiet. You tell yourself you're giving them space, that silence is safer than saying the wrong thing. But what if I told you that your silence, the very thing you think is protecting them, is actually causing more pain than you realize? We've all been there. Someone we love is hurting, and we freeze. We watch them struggle, see the pain in their eyes, and instead of reaching out, we retreat into our own discomfort. We convince ourselves that staying quiet is the noble choice, the careful choice. But here's what we don't see. While we're protecting ourselves from the awkwardness of not knowing what to say, they're drowning in the silence we've created. Think about it. When you're going through something difficult, what hurts more? Someone saying the imperfect thing, or someone saying nothing at all? The wrong words sting for a moment, but silence cuts deeper. Silence feels like abandonment. It feels like you don't matter enough for someone to even try. Your silence isn't neutral. It's not a pause button that keeps everything the same until you figure out what to do. Your silence is an active choice, and that choice is being interpreted by the person who needs you most. They're not thinking, oh, they're probably just processing this and will reach out when they're ready. They're thinking, I guess I was wrong about how much I meant to them. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Most of the time, when we choose silence, we're not actually protecting the other person. We're protecting ourselves. We're avoiding the discomfort of not having the perfect response. We're dodging the vulnerability that comes with showing up imperfectly. We tell ourselves it's about them, but it's really about us not wanting to feel inadequate. But here's what happens in that silence. While you're wrestling with what to say, they're filling that void with their own thoughts. And those thoughts are rarely kind. They're wondering if they did something wrong. They're questioning whether you actually care. They're feeling more alone in their pain because the person they thought would be there for them has chosen to say nothing at all. The irony is heartbreaking. You stay silent because you care so much that you're paralyzed by the fear of making things worse, but your silence becomes the very thing that makes it worse. It becomes confirmation of their worst fears, that they're too much, that their problems are too big, that they're not worth the effort it takes to show up. You don't need perfect words. You never did. The person who's hurting doesn't need you to solve their problems or say exactly the right thing. They need to know they're not invisible. They need to know that someone sees their pain and cares enough to acknowledge it, even imperfectly. I don't know what to say, but I want you to know I'm here. That's it. That's enough. Those 11 words can do more healing than hours of perfectly crafted responses, because what they communicate isn't expertise. It's presence. It's the radical act of showing up when you don't have all the answers. Think about the last time someone showed up for you when you were struggling. I bet they didn't say something profound that changed everything. I bet they just made you feel less alone. They saw you in your pain and didn't turn away. That's the gift you're withholding when you choose silence. Your silence doesn't just hurt in the immediate moment. It creates lasting damage to trust. Every time you choose to say nothing when something needs to be said, you're teaching the other person that they can't count on you when things get difficult. You're showing them that your comfort matters more than their pain. And here's what's particularly cruel about this pattern. It's often the people closest to us who suffer most from our silence. We'll offer support to acquaintances, colleagues, even strangers, because the stakes feel lower. But with the people we love most, the pressure to get it right paralyzes us into getting it wrong. Your spouse is struggling with work stress, and instead of acknowledging it, you pretend not to notice because you don't want to add to their burden. Your friend is going through a divorce, and you avoid bringing it up because you don't know what to say. Your parent is dealing with health issues, and you change the subject because talking about it makes you uncomfortable. In each of these moments, your silence is being interpreted as indifference. While you're trying to be respectful, they're feeling abandoned. While you're waiting for the right moment or the right words, they're concluding that you simply don't care enough to try. But you do care. That's the tragedy of this whole pattern. You care so much that it paralyzes you. You love them so much that you'd rather risk seeming indifferent than risk saying something that might hurt. But your silence hurts more than your imperfect words ever could. Here's what courage looks like in these moments. It looks like saying, I can see you're going through something difficult and I don't know how to help, but I want you to know I'm thinking about you. It looks like sending that text even when you don't know what else to say. It looks like sitting in the awkwardness of not having answers instead of hiding from it. The people in your life who are struggling don't need you to be perfect. They need you to be present. They need you to care more about showing up than about looking foolish. They need you to risk saying the wrong thing rather than saying nothing at all. Your silence isn't protecting anyone. It's creating distance where there should be connection. It's building walls where there should be bridges. Every moment you choose silence over imperfect presence, you're choosing your own comfort over their healing. Stop waiting for the perfect words. They don't exist. Stop waiting until you know how to fix their problems. You can't and you don't need to. Start showing up with your imperfect, fumbling human attempts at connection. Start choosing presence over perfection. Because here's the truth they need to hear, and the truth you need to remember. Your willingness to try, even when you don't know what to say, means everything. Your presence in their pain, even when you can't take it away, is healing. Your voice, even when it's shaky and uncertain, is better than your silence. They're not asking you to be perfect. They're asking you to care enough to try. And that you can absolutely do.